Some legends are formed by community. DePauw Legends. Built to inspire. What's up, Tigers? Welcome to the 4th episode of DePauw Legends, a show where we interview all types of Tigers, from coaches, missionaries, students, staff members, and many more people who have inspired and impacted the DePauw community. Who better to continue with than the current operations director, associate director of the Polium Center, as well as the operations coordinator of WGRE, working for 33 years and counting here in DePauw, Chris Newton. So thank you, Chris, for being with us.
Absolutely. It's great to be here. It's a lot cooler in here than it is in my office, so this is actually nice.
So as I mentioned, you've worked as the associate director as well as the operations coordinator. So did you always want to do this path like when you were growing up, or was there something else you had in mind?
Well, one of the things you learn the longer you're out there in the world is that what you thought you might do isn't always what you end up doing. And sometimes if you last a year in a job, that's good. But I actually, when I graduated from DePauw, I thought I was going to be a radio disc jockey.
Oh, okay.
And I did that for a while, but then I realized that it wasn't very stable. And I had just gotten married, and we were looking to sort of move up. And so I took a job here when they actually said they were going to build this building, and they were looking for an assistant director. And so I jumped out of radio and came here, and I haven't regretted it, but it's sort of amusing to me that I ended up back here. I grew up here. My dad taught here. My mom taught here. My wife worked here. My sister worked here. So it's kind of a family business. But 33 years, yeah. And I think I stayed because it's just different every year. It's not boring. And I mean, you have to like students to work at a place like this. And that's one of the things all of us who are here do like, is just spending time with you guys. So, but no, I was supposed to be a band director, and then I was supposed to be a disc jockey, but I ended up here.
So talking about band, so what did you play, like a particular instrument?
In band, I was a percussionist.
Oh.
And I was in the DePauw band for a little while, but then I actually worked at WGRE when I was a student here, and that sort of just took over my life.
Okay.
And that's what I really ended up wanting to do. And I didn't regret that. And I liked radio. It's just that it's pretty cutthroat out there. And radio is different now than it was 30 years ago. And it's just, whereas, you know, we still get to teach. So that hasn't changed much. So
did it take away your Queen or like drummer aspirations of becoming like a professional drummer?
Oh, it did. But I have been able to continue to play a little bit in local bands. So cool. If you ever drive past my garage on a Friday night, you might hear some stuff coming out of there. But yeah, there's a point where you need health insurance, and you need to save for retirement, and you need steady work, and that's not rock and roll or radio. So this is still a better fit, I think.
And so apart from what I said you're currently working on, I know that you like also help students, like if they need help editing, you also like show them what to do for WGRE if they're commentating. So why do you do these other like little things apart from what you have to do? Like, is this something you like doing, like helping students?
Oh, absolutely. As I said, if you don't like students, you're in the wrong business if you work at a place like this. Because, I mean, I don't feel 60 years old because I work with 18 to 22-year-olds, you know. So, I mean, that's how my brain works. I think this building was so new and had so few people in it in the beginning that we all did a little bit of everything. I used to spend a lot more time down in TV. It used to be that I did building stuff and helping with media fellows, but then also I used to do a lot of stuff down here in television. But then over the years, I ended up back in radio, which is what I like doing anyway. So that's okay with me, but you sort of have to just pick up the things that need to be done. And so if there's somebody on staff who knows how to do photography, they help with that. If there's somebody on staff who knows about audio, they help with that. And so I just sort of went where I was needed. My job description now is nothing like my original job description, but that's okay. I mean, we've had a chance over the years to mold it to do the things we're good at doing. So.
And like I said before, your name is Chris Newton. So there's like a story behind why your name is Chris Newton, like why your parents chose that name?
Chris?
Yeah.
That's a good question. My dad was a Methodist minister, and he spoke 3 or 4 different languages, including Hebrew and Greek. And he taught here as a professor, but he was also a Methodist minister. But in the beginning, I was told that he wanted to call me Bacheleth,
Oh, okay.
which is a Hebrew word, and I've forgotten what that means. I'm sure it's like shorty or something like that. But then they chose Christopher because apparently it means bearer of Christ. And that was important to them, and so that's what they named me. There have been times I've changed my name, like when I was DJing and things like that, but yeah, you'd have to ask them why they called me that, but that's what I was told. So.
Okay, and a final question before we go. Has there ever been students or like staff members who have given back and like saying how much they appreciate what you've done for the students themselves or like what you've done as a whole for the DePauw community?
What I will say is that those of us who have been here this long sort of know who we are. I mean, after like 15 years or so, you consider yourself a long hauler. And so all of us who have been here that long sort of know each other, and we all know what we have to do to keep the place going and all that. So I wouldn't say they go out of their way as a university to say things, but you know, they every year they give awards to people depending on how long they've been here and that sort of thing. They have a staff appreciation event that they do, that sort of thing. In terms of students who have graduated, it is very nice when they come back and they say something like, you know, it's just like you said it was going to be, or, you know, I'm glad I worked at the radio station or took the radio station winter term, that sort of thing, because that is exactly what I wanted to end up doing. We don't expect anybody to like graduate and be a DJ for 50 years, but it's nice if you can go out and do that, and then that leads to other things. There's a young woman who graduated a few years ago who went off and did television news for a while up at Notre Dame. And then she left, and now, because of her computer background and some of her other skills, she's doing like forensic computing. I think it's for the FBI. I'm not positive, but I think it's for the FBI. And, you know, that all started when she was a station manager at the radio station, and she started having to learn all the new technology and this sort of thing. So, you know, we try to sneak in knowledge with things like what we do here and with things that happen in art and sports and, you know, all the other ways you can do co-curricular things that feel fun at the time, but we're actually trying to teach you how to speak, how to be in front of a camera, you know, this sort of thing. So it's nice when students come back and they're able to say, that was all useful to me. That's really all the thanks we need, is just knowing that what we did made a difference somehow.
Well, we took some time to have some students and staff members explain and emphasis how much they appreciate what you've done for them. So let's take a look.
Chris is such a cool dude. I'm a work study at the Pulliam Center, and he and I have the best conversations every day I'm there. We talk about movies, we talk about music. He's just so much fun to be around, and he just inspires me to be a better student and just a better person.
Well, inspired me is a pretty big word. I have to say, working with Chris, and he and I are the only two that have been here the entire history of the building, has been amazing. I considered him to be kingpin in the operation of this building. Without him, we would never have succeeded as much as we have. He's also a collaborator in everything that I have worked on in this building, design, upkeep, and maintenance. I don't make a move without talking to Chris. And here's what I really like about Chris. He is a most diplomatic gentleman, even when he's totally upset about a situation. He has kept me from going over the edge because I am far more aggressive when I'm put out. And he's calmed me down and made me see it a little better way. I haven't always agreed with him, but that's not the point. I couldn't have had a better working companion than Chris.
Chris Newton has also been a big mentor of mine all throughout my time working in student media here at DePauw. Like, I met him and really got to know Chris back in the winter term of my freshman year, and I had him as my winter term professor for WGRE, and I really connected with him right off the bat. He's a very just chill guy who also believes in you and wants you to do, he will give you all the opportunities that you want to succeed, and that's what Chris did for me. He was the one that kind of helped direct me towards get involved more with the radio station at WGRE and also get involved with sports broadcasting. He was a sports broadcaster himself way back when, and he gave me some good tips and also helped me learn just the technological side of things as well, because when you're working here at DePauw, you have to be well-rounded. You have to be able to perform in front of the camera, but also you have to be able to work behind the scenes as well and set up and make sure you can problem solve when technical difficulties go wrong. And that's something that I grew a lot learning from Chris. Like when I have to do sports broadcasting games, I have to set up a whole different broadcasting device and make sure everything's connected and sounding well. All that knowledge that I've gained about just making sure the sports broadcast is top-notch is all from Chris. And he has been a big part of my college experience all the way up until now. While I'm still on the WGRE board as a sports director, Chris has always been there by my side and making sure that everything is going well. He's always checking in on me and making sure the sports broadcasts are there. So he's someone that's been in my corner, I felt, from day one, and has been a big part of my support staff and has been a big part of my DePauw experience.
Thank you for tuning in to the 4th episode of DePauw Legends. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the #1 media organization on campus, DCTV. Remember to tune in to the next episode of DePauw Legends, People Who Inspire.